Welcome to the world of those who stayed, a place where I, a soul left behind, will tell you stories you were never meant to hear, forgotten houses, nameless graves, and places where you should never have walked. If you've ever felt a chill with no wind, if you've ever sensed eyes watching in the dark, you're not alone. So, subscribe. I have more stories to tell, and leave a comment. I read them all, even when you don't think I'm there now. Stay silent and listen.
Episode 1. The One Who Never Left, Still Here. In the attic of house number 1720, Meadow Creek Road, suburban Oregon. No one remembers me. No headstone, no candle. No one has spoken my name since the night they left. But I stayed, not out of hatred, but because I once heard another little girl laugh in that hallway. The year was 1984. They hire me to clean, cook, and watch over their little boy when they weren't home. I lived in the attic room, just beside the wooden stairs, where the window never closed properly in winter. I never thought I would die there, even less that my death would be swept away like grease from the kitchen counter. Almost 40 years later, the house got new owners. A young couple, Daniel and Alyssa, with an 8-year-old daughter named June. They moved in during mid-autumn, when the trees around the house had lost their leaves, and the wind slipped through wall cracks like hoarse whispers. June was a quiet child. She often stared at the ceiling. Sometimes I heard her whisper, "Don't be sad, ma'am. I see you." For the first time in years, I felt like I was still part of this world. But I also knew that could put her in danger. I started with small things, flickering the light every time Daniel stepped into June's room, knocking over picture frames when he passed, leaving dusty handprints on the attic window. Not to scare, but to test him. I once thought he was just a normal father, until I saw his eyes. The way he looked at his daughter, as if she weren't a child. I had seen that look before, on the face of my former employer. One night, when Alyssa had a night shift at the hospital, Daniel stayed home with June. I stood guard outside her room. The wind battered the window. She trembled under the blanket while he entered her room, so gently, like he was caring. I knocked over the bedside lamp. He flinched, turned. I stood in the mirror. No face, no hair, just a shadow. But I know he saw me. He froze for seconds, then muttered, "Not you. Not again." I understood. He had done this before. To someone, maybe a sister, maybe a former girlfriend, maybe someone else's daughter. I couldn't hurt him. I couldn't scream. But I could bring Alyssa home. I pulled the phone off the table. Alyssa was still at work, but the hallway lights in the hospital flickered. She shivered. Dialed the house. No one picked up. I whispered into the phone, "Come home." June needs you. She heard me. I know, because she left immediately. Daniel had locked the door. June was crying softly. I tried to open it, but I couldn't. The door was too solid. And I was just a faded memory. I floated down the hallway, back to the attic. I had hidden a tape there, an old camera tape from the year I died. I took it, wiped off the dust, dropped it down the stairwell. Alyssa arrived just in time. Daniel was standing beside June's bed. The child was trembling, too scared to scream. She screamed, rushed in, pulled her daughter into her arms. The tape lay at her feet. No one said anything after that. No blood, no screams. Only silence as the police came and quietly took Daniel away. I saw June sobbing into her mother's chest. Alyssa looked around. She didn't see me, but softly said, "Thank you." For the first time in nearly 40 years, I sat in the attic. Morning had come, and I no longer felt cold. I don't have much time left here, but I still remember the feeling of being pushed, the hands on my throat. Then darkness, just because I saw something I shouldn't have seen. I didn't return to haunt. I never dragged anyone from bed or clawed the walls. I stayed just to make sure no one else would die the way I did. Some ghosts look frightening, but they are just the forgotten dead. And then there are those who seem kind, polite, but have killed using the silence of a whole house. I'm a ghost. Are scarier than me. Episode 2. The white winter on the black fieldy. Don't remember the pain. I don't remember the snowstorm. I only remember the silence. After they left, they buried me beneath the first frost of December. A white sheet covered the whole field. No one saw the shallow grave. No one cared to dig deeper. The news said I ran away. But I never even made it to the road. This field, they said, used to be a cornfield before the crops failed. Before people stopped believing it could grow anything else. Now, it's where people dump what they don't want to see again. Broken TVs, dead dogs, even a girl like me. I don't remember their faces, just the sound of a truck, the smell of old tarps, the cold, bitter air when they opened the trunk, and then darkness. Years passed. The field stayed empty. No crops, no trees, just snow in winter and weeds in summer. Until someone came, a photographer. She wanted to shoot abandoned places. Said this field felt sad, but beautiful. She came every weekend, wore a red scarf, carried an old Canon camera, and smiled at the quiet. One afternoon, she walked too far, tripped, fell face first into The soil, when she sat up, she looked straight into my bones. The snow had shifted. The earth cracked, and part of my arm showed itself. She didn't scream. She took a photo, not because she was cruel, but because she didn't believe what she saw. She called the police. They dug, found my body, my sweater still red beneath the frost, my shoes still tied. They said it was an unsolved case from over 10 years ago, a missing girl. No family ever claimed me. No one cried, but the photographer, she came back. She left flowers, candles, a note that said, "I'm sorry no one looked for you." That winter, snow fell quietly. But I wasn't alone anymore. Her visits brought something back, something I didn't know. I had lost my name. It was stitched into my jacket. Except her. She posted the photo online. Someone recognized the patch. Someone remembered me from middle school. They said I was kind, shy, loved drawing cats on my notebooks. I watched from the field as a small group gathered. They placed a wooden cross, said my name out loud, and for the first time, I felt warm. Not because I was alive, but because I was seen. I'm still here, not because I'm lost, but because this place remembers me now. And because sometimes someone stops by with a red scarf and a camera and a heart big enough to carry the forgotten. Episode 3. The door that wouldn't open. They told everyone the house was empty, abandoned for years. No furniture, no lights, no life. But I've been standing behind this door for a very, very long time. No one ever opened it. Not even once. Not during the fires. Not during the flood. Not even when children dared each other to enter the old Thomas house on Grove Street. They came. They laughed. They took photos. But they never touched my door. Until one night, a man in a black hoodie came with a crowbar. He didn't knock, didn't ask, just forced his way in. I didn't want to hurt him. I never hurt anyone. I only wanted him to leave. He broke the lock, stepped inside. The flashlight in his hand flickered, like it could already sense what he shouldn't see. My room was just as I remembered. Faded wallpaper, a mirror with a crack down the middle. And that smell, dust, wood, and something old, like time forgot this place. He didn't see me at first. He looked around, opened drawers, took photos of my things. Then he found the diary. My diary. He opened it, flipped through pages, laughed. That was the first time the lights went out. I stood in front of the door, the one he had forced open, and I closed it. He screamed, ran to it, tried to pull it open, but it wouldn't move. Not anymore. This door only opens one way. He begged, said he was sorry, said he didn't mean to, but I remembered his face from before I died. He was there at the party, in the hallway, when I locked myself in this very room because he wouldn't stop touching me. Back then, I thought the door would save me, that if I locked it fast enough, I'd be safe. But the fire started downstairs, and the smoke rose, and no one came back. For me, not even him. And now, here he was, begging for a second chance. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I simply placed the diary at his feet. He fell to his knees, opened it again, saw the last line I wrote before the fire. If someone finds this, please remember me, not as a ghost, but as a girl who tried to live. The air grew colder. His flashlight died. The mirror cracked again, and I let go. The door creaked, open on its own. He ran, never looked back. Now, no one dares come near. They say the house breathes, that the upstairs door omens only when someone needs to remember I'm still here, but not because I'm trapped. I stay because this door is the only thing that ever listened. Episode 4, The Basement Where Time Stopetty Didn't Die from an Accident. I died because no one believed it could happen. Died because a warning light was ignored. Died at exactly 4:07 a.m. when the wall clock in the bank's basement stopped and never ticked again. Now I live inside that minute, forever. They said it was just a short power outage. They didn't check the gas line, didn't notice the slow leak, didn't smell the danger building below their feet. I worked overtime, stayed late, didn't want to, but someone had to count the safe. No one called to check on me. No one stayed behind. When the firemen found my body, I was still sitting upright, one hand on the calculator, eyes open, mouth parted as if I was about to say something. They sealed the basement, rebuilt the lobby, hung a new clock in the hallway. But it never matched the time below, because below it's still 4:07. Always, years later, a young intern came down, said she lost her badge, wanted to search the old filing room. The light buzzed, the air felt thick, and she paused right in front of my desk. She reached out, touched the calculator. It turned on. No power, no battery, but the screen lit up and showed 3 numbers. 4:07. She backed away, dropped her phone, ran up the stairs. But before she left, she looked over her shoulder, and I think for just a second, she saw me. She told someone. They laughed, said old places feel spooky sometimes, but she never came back. And the basement stayed locked. Now, I count seconds that never pass, watch dust that never falls, live in a loop that never breaks. I'm not angry, just unfinished dot, because somewhere above, the world kept going. Lunch breaks, deadlines, small talk by the coffee machine, while down here, time is a bruise that never fades. If you ever go into a quiet basement and feel something pressing in, like a breath held to long check the clock, listen closely. You might hear me counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 07. Episode 5. The story above the CEI. You never looked up. Not once. Not when you moved in. Not when the faucet dripped at night. Not even when the cat hissed at something on the ceiling. But I was there, watching, listening, remembering how I got here. No one believes in attics anymore. No one checks above the drywall. But it was sealed inside, between beams and insulation, between screams and silence. They said she ran away. That a teenage girl with no friends probably just left town. But she didn't. I didn't. He brought me here, said it was just for a photo. Said he worked for a magazine, said I was perfect. He smiled too much, locked the door, turned off the lights. When I screamed, no one heard. Not the neighbors, not his wife, not even the baby downstairs. Days passed. Food ran out. The air got thin, but I heard everything. I heard her cries, her lullabies, the clink of his spoon in his coffee cup every morning while I lay above the ceiling. I didn't know I'd died. Not at first. I thought I was just tired, just cold, just fading. But then I stayed, even when they moved away. Even when you came with your happy voice and your boxes of books and your new beginning, I tried to warn you, scratched the wood, dropped the frame, made the bulbs flicker. You thought it was old wiring, or mice, or dreams. But then he came back. The man, older now. Worse, he knocked on your door, smiled that same smile, offered to fix your pipes. You let him in. I banged the ceiling. You turned up the music. I screamed. You went to shower, and I watched as he walked down the hall toward your room with the same look in his eyes. So I fell, broke through the drywall, landed in your living room like a breath held too long. You saw me, your eyes wide, frozen, but then you ran out the door, into the street, alive. You told the police. They found him, found the attic, found the bones. Now the house is empty again. The ceiling patched, the story buried. But I still wait above, not for revenge, not for peace, but for someone to look up and remember that I was here, that I mattered, that not all ghosts start out that way.